How did it happen that America helped Stalin with millions of tons of weapons, equipment, and food, and just a few years later, the Soviet Union became the main enemy? During the Second World War, the United States and the USSR were allies. They fought together against Hitler. But soon after the victory, everything changed. Instead of allies, there are enemies. Instead of cooperation, there is confrontation. That's how the Cold War began. Today we will figure out why America supported Stalin during the war and why, immediately after the victory, it did everything to stop the Soviet Union. First, let's remember how it all started. The year is 1939. Europe is burning in flames. Hitler is attacking Poland. The Second World War begins. The United States is formally neutral, but American society is more sympathetic to Britain and France. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union is concluding the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. In the eyes of the West, Stalin looks more like an associate of Hitler than a future ally. America and the USSR are on opposite sides of the fence. June 1941. Germany violates the pact and invades the Soviet Union. The largest military campaign in the history of mankind begins. Stalin has no choice but to turn to Britain and the United States for help. President Roosevelt has a choice: leave the Soviet Union to die alone or lend a helping hand. Roosevelt understands, if the USSR falls, Hitler will become the master of the whole of Europe. This means that sooner or later, it will come to the shores of America. Therefore, the decision was pragmatic. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. America is launching a Lend-Lease program. Thousands of planes, tanks, and trucks, millions of tons of stew, gunpowder, and fuel are beginning to arrive in the Soviet Union. American Studebakers are carrying Soviet artillery. Jeeps Willys become a symbol of the Red Army. Even the famous Katyusha rode on American chassis. It wasn't a gesture of friendship. It was a cold, calculated decision. The United States helped the USSR only because without this help, the war could drag on for decades, and the cost of procrastination was too great. But the Union was temporary. America envisioned a democratic and capitalist future. The Soviet Union saw it as socialist and expanded its influence to Eastern Europe. The Yalta Conference in 1945 showed that the Allies are trying to come to an agreement, but in fact, they have completely different goals. It was important for Stalin to create a belt of friendly regimes around the USSR. For the United States, it is important to maintain the balance of power in Europe. May 1945. Germany is capitulating. Everything has changed. The common enemy has disappeared. Now the former allies have a major question: who will control the world? In Eastern Europe, Soviet troops are installing pro-communist governments. In Asia, the USSR is crushing the million-strong Japanese army in Manchuria. Meanwhile, the United States is demonstrating a new weapon, the atomic bomb. Hiroshima and Nagasaki are becoming a signal not only for Japan, but also for the Soviet Union. Washington is becoming more and more afraid. The USSR has become too powerful. Moscow is beginning to frighten Americans no less than yesterday's enemy, Hitler.
In 1946, Churchill delivers a famous speech in Fulton. He is talking about the Iron Curtain that has descended over Europe. In 1947, President Truman formulated a new strategy. Communism must be contained everywhere and at all times. A global confrontation begins. 1948, the Berlin crisis. The West and the USSR are facing off in the first serious battle for the future of Europe. Yesterday's allies become enemies. The United States is creating NATO. The USSR responds by creating the Warsaw Pact. This is how the Cold War begins, which will last for more than 40 years. America did not support Stalin because it believed in communism, but because without this support, it was impossible to defeat Hitler. But when Nazi Germany fell, the main reason for cooperation disappeared. Ideology, distrust, and the struggle for influence have all turned allies into sworn enemies. History shows that there are no eternal friends in politics. There are only temporary allies. And the union of Roosevelt and Stalin is one of the most striking examples of how quickly friendship turns into cold confrontation.